It's a great pleasure to be here. Are you having a good time so far?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah? Okay, great. Is there anyone here who's ever heard me speak before? No?
I've seen your video.
You've seen my video, okay. Well, I never start any presentation without first making sure that we elevate our state, okay? Why do I do that? It's because I want you to feel good. And today, we're gonna do a breathing exercise because that's such an easy way to immediately elevate our state, feel better, and to oxygenate our whole body, our brain, so that we can absorb all the information and all the wonderful things that are happening here today. Are you willing to try this with me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now, I have a lot of different breathing exercises in my repertoire. Some are a bit crazy, a bit strange, but today I will keep it very simple for you. You don't even have to get out of your seats. It's gonna be 20 connected breaths. Is this working? Does it make a difference?
Yes.
A little bit, okay, fine. So 20 connected breaths, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take 4 short breaths, followed by 1 long breath, and we're gonna repeat it 4 times. You're designed to breathe through your nose. So breathe through your nose, unless you're really blocked up, stuck up, yeah, but otherwise breathe through your nose. And I want vigorous breathing. I want to be able to hear you breathe. So it sounds like this. That's 1 round. We're going to do 4 rounds of this. Are we up for this?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
You can close your eyes if you're feeling embarrassed. Okay. Okay. At the back as well. You're joining in, right? Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Are we feeling good?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, great. I do that before I talk, I do that before I have a meeting, before I have an important telephone call, whatever it is, just to make sure that my brain is really switched on, ready to go. So it's interesting that you started by asking people, what is beauty? Because that's the title of my talk today. What is beauty? That's really what I wanted to delve into and give some of my experiences and insights. But it was wonderful to also hear what you had to say. Like, what is beauty? How do we define it? Who decides what beauty is? And have you noticed how what is considered beauty changes over time? How society changes what it values when it comes to beauty? When I grew up, when I was a teenager, that was back in the 90s, I internalized that in order to be beautiful, you had to be skinny. That was the 90s. You had to be almost like gaunt, like this heroin chic kind of thing. Really, really skinny, yeah. That's what you saw when you opened up all the fashion magazines. But then at the same time, I remember I was at boarding school in Sweden. I'm originally from Sweden. And H&M, do you know the clothing retailer H&M?
Yeah.
Do you know what they were originally called? Hennes och Mauritz. Yeah, Hennes och Mauritz. It's a Swedish clothing company. But of course, if you're going to go global, that name ain't going to work. So they just took the first letters and it became H&M. But in the 90s, they launched, and I'll never forget this huge campaign for lingerie. And they put up billboards everywhere, the whole of Europe. Maybe it was even in America, but definitely the whole of Europe. And the model they chose, now I see the audience might be a bit young, maybe you don't know who this model is, but her name was Anna Nicole Smith. Does any, yeah, you know? Yeah, she became a little bit infamous when she married like a 97-year-old. We will give her the benefit of the doubt. It was true love, no doubt. But back in the day, she was stunning, right? Stunning. If you Google her, you'll see. But this woman was voluptuous. oh my gosh, did she have curves and all in the right places, right? And traffic accidents in Europe skyrocketed when they put out this campaign because everyone's looking at the big billboards instead of looking at where they needed to drive, right? It was quite something. So she was on these big billboards everywhere. And around this time as well, I recall Wonder Bra. I don't even know if they exist anymore, but do you remember Wonder Bra? It just pushed kind of everything up and squished it together, giving you this incredible cleavage. They were also going very strong throughout the world with their ad campaigns. Also, beautiful models, very voluptuous. And I'm thinking to myself as a teenager, I can't live up to this. What I'm seeing, like, I don't measure up to this. The standard of how I thought I needed to look, there was no chance that I could achieve that standard. But I tried. I mean, growing up, I even developed an eating disorder. And it's something that I don't hear discussed a lot in Zambia. I don't know if eating disorders exist here. Even when I ran the Umoyo Health Clinic, we didn't get a lot of people coming in. Is this an issue here in Zambia, eating disorders?
No.
Not really. Sorry? But eating disorders, you have eating disorders where people eat too much, overeating. Now, I think that might be something, yeah, right? For emotional reasons. Then you have the eating disorders where you eat too little, anorexia, or where you eat and then you try and get rid of the calories through throwing up or exercise or whatever, bulimia. But I developed an eating disorder as a young woman, and I battled that for many, many, many years in order to overcome that. But that was because I was trying to live up to what I saw society wanted me to be, how society wanted me to look, who society wanted me to be honest. And today, of course, we also have these filters and social media where everyone looks perfect, right? They always look perfect. Back in the day, it was all airbrushing, but now we can do it ourselves by just applying a filter. My kids, who are very tech savvy, they'll come to me with their phone and they're like, "Smile, mama," and I go, "Cheese," and they'll take a photo and then they'll show me, and they've applied some filter where I look like 30 years younger with makeup and everything. I'm like, I need a screenshot of that. I like that. I look beautiful there. And then they'll come another time and go, "Mama, cheese." And now they've made me look like I'm 110 years old. I'm sure you've seen those filters, right, where it ages you. And some filters, they come, I mean, it's crazy, where they make you look like a man. I'm not sure the reason for that, but they're out there. But for me, I'm on social media a lot, and I have made a conscious decision for myself. I don't use filters. At least not filters that make me look better than I am. Because I don't want to set an expectation that I then have to live up to in my everyday life. And I'm thinking, if I start putting filters, yeah, I look damn good when I have those filters on. But then if I put a normal photo, what are people going to think? What happened to her? You know, and I just don't want to set that expectation for myself. So I personally have chosen, I'm not going to use filters that make me look better than I think I look. And that's also why I personally, day to day, don't wear makeup. And I have nothing against makeup. If you're into makeup, great, all the power to you. And today, I must admit, I am wearing a bit of makeup. I put on, because it's a beauty fair, so I made an effort here. So I put on a little bit of cream that's slightly tinted. So it's not like a foundation, but it just smooths things out a little bit, and I put a bit of eyeliner, and I think I look quite nice. But, thank you, but I don't do it daily for the same reason, because I don't want to get into a position where I feel like I have to do it in order to look okay. I want to be able to look myself in the mirror every morning, look myself straight in the eye, and say to myself, I love you, and you are beautiful. And I don't know if you've ever tried doing that. It is actually quite hard. It took me a long time before I was able to look myself in the eye and just say that. Try it. Try it when you get home. and see if there's any resistance there. Just feel within. Is there anything that I don't quite believe it? Some resistance. But I can say that now 100% and know that it is true. And sometimes it brings tears to my eyes because I feel it. But that's why I choose day to day not to wear makeup, because I don't want to get to a point where I feel that I have to wear it in order to see myself as beautiful. But I'm talking for me. Yeah, nothing against makeup. I mean, I'm also getting older. I'm 47 years old now. I don't look like I did when I'm 20, you know? Things are starting to sag. There are wrinkles and more wrinkles come. And believe it or not, when I was young, I had chubby, beautiful, big cheeks. I don't know what happened to them. They've disappeared, right? Aging. And I know, once again, I look out here and a lot of you are still young. And when you're young, you believe somehow that you're going to be young forever. You're not. It's going to catch up with you. And I try and resist it because, you know, society values youth. That's what we want to look youthful, isn't it? And I try to resist that aging. I buy those expensive anti-aging creams. I do. I don't know if they work, but I do buy them, and I do facials, and I do some therapies like the microneedling and things like that. Once again, I'm not sure how big of a difference, but I try to resist the passage of time. But at the end of the day, can I stop this aging process? No, I can't stop it, no matter how hard I try. And I don't mind buying these anti-aging creams, that's great. But at the end of the day, I really only have one option left to me, as I see it. And that is to accept. To accept. To accept who I am. To accept myself fully. And that includes to accept myself how I look. And throughout my life, I have really tried to find my self-worth. This has been like a lifelong journey for me, a lifelong lesson, finding that self-worth, that self-love within myself. And I'm not saying I'm 100% there. I'm still kind of work in progress, but let me tell you, I have gotten so far. And for a long time in my life, I did not feel that I was good enough in many different aspects, but also in terms of living up to what I thought was how I needed to look or what was considered beautiful. I'm quite tall, but what you may not know is that I was this height when I was 12 years old. Yeah. I was taller than all the boys in my class. There were a few benefits to this. One was I was the fastest. I could outrun anyone because of the height. But on the flip side, my height, it embarrassed me. You know, when you're a teenager, you're just embarrassed about everything. Well, my height embarrassed me. And if you look at my feet are very normal. They're not particularly big. But a 12-year-old with size 6, I thought they were humongous. And I was I try to hide them. And you know what I did? I wore shoes that were too small for me because I was embarrassed. I didn't want them to appear as big as I thought they were. So I wore shoes that were too small for me. And what happened? My toes obviously didn't develop properly, right? Because I was squishing them all the time. And I've spent my life really hating my feet. And most of the time you will see me wearing closed shoes. And a few months ago, I'm 47 years old. A few months ago, I went and had my first ever pedicure.
What?
Yeah, my first ever pedicure in my life, because I was so embarrassed of my feet. I didn't want to show anyone my feet, really. And I'm not joking when I tell you this. I'm not making this up, but I have my feet in this bowl of water. They've got some Epsom salts and some nice essential oils, and they're kind of rubbing not the massage there, but the therapist there, her name was Faith, gorgeous lady, and she says to me, and she doesn't know anything about me, and she says to me, "You have the most beautiful feet." And I'm like, what? I could hardly believe it. And when I got out of that pedicure, you know what I did? I thought, this stops now. This is ridiculous. I put on some sandals, so like flip-flops, and I stood up and I took my phone and I just took a selfie straight down and zoomed in on my feet, and I posted it on social media for the whole world to see.
Aww.
Yeah. And that was me coming full circle to accepting this part of my body that for so long I had tried to hide, that I was embarrassed of. But what I found is that for a lot of women, and this may not apply to you, but I know it applies to a lot of us because we've been conditioned this way. For a lot of women, we gain part of our self-worth through how we look. You know, if we feel that we look good and people are complimenting us and people are telling that we're beautiful, it builds our self-worth. We feel good about ourselves. But if someone were to say something that you do not look good, or those compliments suddenly run dry, our self-worth comes down. And that is a very, very slippery slope to be on. A very, very painful path to be on when we take our self-worth from how we look, what other people think of us and say to us about our appearance. Because it ain't true self-worth, because that self-worth cannot last. It's dependent on other people, what other people's opinions are. And as you age, it won't last either, right? Self-worth that comes from the external is not true self-worth. And this is something that I've had to learn in my life. This has been the overarching journey, I feel, that I have been on, lessons that I've had to learn. And it's really the longest journey you'll ever take is from your mind to your heart. And what I mean by that is, I can tell you that you are worthy. I can tell you that you are beautiful, but you need to know it here. You can't just know it intellectually. I can't teach you that. Nobody can teach you that. You have to know it in your heart. Because self-worth is nothing to do with the outside. I talk a lot about this on my social media platforms. Self-worth is you are worthy simply for the fact that you exist. The fact that you're sitting here, that you are alive, that you are breathing here today means that you are worthy. You don't have to do anything, be anything, look like anything in particular. You are worthy just because you exist. That is true self-worth, and nobody can take that away from you, right? But how to know that intellectually and to know it in your heart, to know it in your soul, they're two very, very different things. And that is the journey you have to make. So, what is beauty? What is beauty to me? Beauty to me is when I am in alignment with who I truly am. When I'm in alignment with my higher self. When my essence radiates, who I really am, when that essence radiates out from me, that to me is beauty. That is when I step into my authentic power, when I find that alignment. For me, that is beauty. So that for me is what I personally am working on in my life. To every day, every moment, make sure as much as possible that I am in alignment with who I truly am, my true self. That I am not trying to hide anything. This is me. There was a beautiful linguist who taught me this, and I'm so sorry, I cannot remember her name. But a lovely, lovely lady. And we looked at the word beautiful, and she broke it down for me. If you write out the word beautiful and segment it and say it slowly, beautiful, 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 where you are fully who you are, where you incorporate everything, your true essence, that is true beauty. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.